Race number 2 of the weekend for the Protech Shock Sports Specials Championship about to get underway, but we are again without pole sitter Martin Gambling. So it's Matthew Booth on his own on row 1, ahead of Rob Johnston and Darren Barris, then John Moore and Stephen Ward. Marcus Roskill and Liam are on row 4. Nigel Brown and Leighton Norris complete the top 10, ahead of Martin Hayward and Martin Buckland, Alex Claridge and Bridget Smart, then Alan Robinson, Ben Coles, Ollie Samways, Sylvia Much, and Andy Hiley and Peter Robinson round out the field. Well, race 1 was dominated by Matthew Booth. Can he do the same thing again from the front row of the grid? It was a fairly tight run through the first few corners though. Remember, Darren Barris came through from the back after a lap 1 off to finish second, so this won't be all Matthew Booth's way, I'm sure. On board with Alex Claridge as the lights go off though, and he goes backwards. Not a good start for Claridge there in the MEV, and several cars coming past him. Ollie Samways there dives up the inside in car number 12, but at the front of the field, look at that, it is Barris in front, so Barris gets the lead away from Booth. Booth will be second, and diving up the inside, look, comes John Moore into third place if he can. Rob Johnston will try and stay with him around the outside. That gives him the inside line down to Yep, but they'll wheel to wheel into the braking zone. Barris from Booth from, oh, what a close call that was there for John Moore, who locked up the brakes trying to hold on to that third place and so nearly wiped out our race 1 winner Matthew Booth. There further back is Alan Robinson dicing away in Class B, but really close quarters stuff at the front of the field. And how has that shaken out the order? I think that Moore is still ahead of Johnston. Yes, he is, and not far behind them. Look, the black car of Stephen Ward, who we didn't really see in race 1, but Stephen Ward is looking pretty competitive in this one, getting away with the lead group in the early going. In towards Gracelands they go. And Rob Johnston won't be too pleased with that, but look at this for the battle for the race lead. Darren Barris and Matthew Booth, excuse me. Matthew Booth goes right around the outside and takes the lead away. So Booth didn't take him that long, did it, to get back through? Now I wonder though whether Barris can come back at him. Barris with the V8 engine, Westfield, got to the outside line, got a bit more poke in a straight line as Barris, but maybe Booth's MK Indy is a little bit quicker through the corners. Let's see as they come out onto the straight. Be interesting to ride on board with the RAF liveried car as it gets the power down. Nice tight line, and yes, look at that, a bit more straight line speed, will get in the toe as well. They're reasonably evenly matched, but look at that. Barris definitely has the speed. Down towards turn 1, goes up the inside line, side by side again for the race lead, and Barris goes back through. Fantastic racing this between the two of them. Darren Barris, this is what we sort of wanted to see and hoped to see in race 1, but Barris got tangled up on the opening lap with John Moore and ended up falling to the tail end of the field, but the flame-spitting Westfield is back out in front now. Moved back down to second, then Johnston third. So he's got himself back ahead of John Moore somewhere around the back end of the previous lap. But these leading 4 cars much closer together now than they were at any stage in race 1. Booth back up the inside. Oh, there's been a contact between the two of them. Booth and Barris getting very close indeed as they go through Chapman Curve. And, well, Barris is defending the lead, but this is what we said. Booth's car is a bit better through the corners, whereas Barris has the straight line speed advantage. This will be a fascinating race between the two of them. If either of them can get in front and really sort of stretch their legs, then we might start to see the gap open up. But for the time being, whilst they're fighting with each other, they both have their different strengths and weaknesses, and they're both utilising them brilliantly. Back down towards Tarzan, where Booth, I'm sure, will launch another assault under braking against the outside line. Johnston's not that far back in third, though. Oh, up the inside goes Booth. That was a really clever bit of driving. Booth with the late apex gets back up the inside of Barris, and he goes back through. We've seen this script before, though, because now we're getting towards part of the circuit where Barris is strong, with a car in the gravel coming out of Gracelands, which I fear is Nigel Brown, who has spun and I don't think has quite made the barriers, but he certainly beats in the gravel. But yes, this is the situation we had a lap ago, where Booth led onto the pit straight, but by the time we got down to the Dean hairpin, Barris had used his superior horsepower to get back ahead. Booth knows what's coming, though, pulls down to the inside line to try and defend. Barris to the outside line, tries to carry the speed through the banking at turn 1, but he really wants the inside line down at Dean, which is what he's trying to get, but Booth won't let him have that again. So to the outside goes Barris, who's going to be latest on the brakes. You put your money on Booth, surely, but Barris is trying to go with him right round the outside. Where is Booth? There is Booth on the inside line, holding on to the lead, and now with a whole lap ahead of him before we get back onto a long straight, can Matthew Booth use the superior handling of the Westfield to, of the MK Indy to pull away from the Westfield? Through Chapman again they go, and Barris is staying with him, but Johnston, look, is not far behind us. You can see the flash of orange in the rear view mirror. Pulled quite a decent gap now over John Moore in 4th, so it's a 3-horse race at the front, but if Barris has to start defending from Johnston, that will be music to the ears of Booth, who already, look, is starting to assert his authority and pull away at the front. Down towards Gracelands. Barris just needs to stay in touch, though, before they get back on the straight, and then maybe maybe he can launch another attack. Johnston, though, trying to get alongside him now for second place, and this is exactly the sort of defensive driving that Barris does not want to be doing, because it's not the quickest way around the circuit. And yes, it means that you can hold on to your position, but your chances of gaining any further positions, therefore, get slimmer and slimmer. Back into Brook Chicane. Well, he's not a million miles back, only 4 or 5 car lengths behind the race leader as they head out of Brook up onto the banking. Quite a severe transition just there as you lead into the banking, and now we watch the straight lines being. Can Barris get close enough to attack down towards turn 1? I'm not convinced he will do. Hold on the battling going on further back. But actually the rest of the top 10 fairly well spaced out until you get down to Class B, so we'll focus instead on the race leaders. And although Barris is closing on Booth, he's not going to be close enough to attack, I don't think, on the brakes, is he? He's very late on the brakes though, and he does go to the outside. Oh, Johnston though, Johnston makes a real Horlicks of the Dean hairpin, locked up the rear brakes there and had to bail out of it, otherwise he was going to run straight into the side of the leading 2 cars, who themselves were actually side by side. So that's really impressive horsepower from Barris's Westfield, that he was able to come from that far back. He was nearly a second behind in the line, and yet they were side by side on the braking for the Dean hairpin. Goes to show just how much horsepower counts around here, even though it is a tight and technical circuit. You need a good chassis, you need a good handling car, but when it comes to a wheel-to-wheel race situation, you'd take horsepower over handling any day, because you just know that as long as you can stay with the car in front until you get onto the straight, you've got a good chance of attacking down at Dean. Back on board with Ollie Samways now in car number 12, as he turns his way down into Kirby, chasing down the leaders in Class B in front of us by the look of it. Through Kirby in towards Gracelands again, and yeah, you can see that Class B battle well and truly raging. Further back, Alex Claridge is still trying to work his way back up the order after that slightly sluggish start. In Class B, I can tell you it is the same contenders as yesterday's race, battling together. Roskill, M and Samway is not far behind them. So Ollie would really like to get involved in that battle if he could. Although with Alex Claridge as we turn into the Tarzan hairpin. And back along the school straight into the Brook Chicane, where he's not really close enough to attack, I don't think. And he's going to have to wait for his opportunity. Right, this is the Class B battle I was on about. So we've got on the left there, Marcus Roskill. Behind in the white car is Liam, and that is not Ollie Samway's car number 12. It did look like number 12, didn't it, on that car that's up the inside. That, I don't think he's running in the same battle though. Oh, Roskill runs a bit wide there. Could lose the position, could he? Inside, and well, yes, no, that is definitely on car number 12, isn't it? Ollie Samways, yeah. So Samways is back in front. He takes over the class lead. So Roskill drops him behind. Turn through Chapman, and this now is getting very close indeed between Roskill and Liam. And Liam is all over the curb as he tries to attack Roskill down into Kirby. Through the double apex left-hander, and Liam goes back through, so Liam takes over the what is the class lead, because it definitely is Ollie Samways behind. There is another car out there that's running a number that looks suspiciously like number 12, but it isn't. It's definitely Ollie Samways behind them, and so Liam takes over the class lead again as they turn through Tarzan. Back down the school straight, and Roskill's going to come back at him though. M's a bit wayward over the curb, and Roskill gets the lead back. So Class B battling is really very intense, isn't it? And Roskill will now have to really defend that position as they come out onto the straight. But again, it'd be interesting to see which of these 2 cars actually has the edge in performance. Against the banking they go. And it looks as though, yeah, straight line speed-wise, there's not much to choose between them, but possibly Marcus Roskill has a slight advantage. Through the bank to turn 1 they go. And down towards Dean, and yeah, you can see that gap really has gone out, so it's through the infield section where Liam will be trying to close the gap once more. We'll be able to do that though, we'll have to wait and see. Down to Yentwood, and Roskill starting to establish some authority now, you'd have to say, in the lead of the class, just edging away slightly from the competition. at this stage of the race as we hit the middle portion of this 6th round of the championship. Matthew Booth still leads the way at the head of the Class A field, and look at this, Class B. Well, Liam really is using the low-cost scud handling to close right back in on the Marcus Roskill machine. Marcus at the wheel of the Silver Phoenix, of course, several of those Silver Phoenixes racing in this championship as ever this year. And he's having to really go defensive now, hard on the brakes into Tarzan. Booth looking for the cutback, can't do it there. Heads up the hill towards Brook Chicane, and now heading into the part of the circuit where actually the superior straight line speed of Roskill Silver should, in theory, allow him to pull back away again, although the gap is much the same as it was a lap ago. So even if he does pull away in a straight line, Liam's going to be right with him through the corners. You can see there visibly how much more speed Liam is able to take through the turns. And then they get onto the straight, and the slightly heavier but slightly more powerful Phoenix pulls right away. Some good battling going on further back here. That's again another group of Class B cars. Number 18 there is Martin Buckland, and behind him I think is number 65 Martin Hayward, and this could be another change of position as they head down into Dean, and Hayward goes up the inside line, and it will indeed be Hayward who takes over the position. Hayward actually running within Class A, Martin Buckland in Class B. Hayward it is who gets himself through. Haven't yet seen any sign of Leighton Norris in this race, who of course was one of our contenders for victory in race 1 for Class B. The reason being that he didn't start the race. Now, we don't know why, but that meant we had 2 non-starters, and there were 2 potential race winners within their various classes. Martin Gambling, of course, due to start on the overall pole position, and Leighton Norris, who was due to be the third highest qualifying Class B car. It's not meant to be for them. They've not been able to get out there for the start of the race. Drive past the stricken car of Nigel Brown after his first lap off, and Hayward's starting to get away now from the car behind, so looks as though he's fairly well established in that position now. These are both Phoenixes, but Hayward in the silver and Buckland in the STM. It looks as though it's the silver that just has the edge at the moment this weekend. So Hayward continues to pull out the gap, heads out onto the pit straight and onto one more lap. They've got probably time for actually 2 more laps before the end of the race, because the leader's already long gone, but we are just about at 13 minutes gone now, so another 2 laps for these guys. Of course we have the 13 minutes plus that extra lap. Championship wise, Matthew Booth, if he can take this win again in this race, I remember Darren Barris is still second, that means he's going to take a fairly substantial amount of points away from championship leader Rob Johnston. There is Matthew Booth, he goes on to his final lap of the race, and well, I'm not counting too many chickens yet because Darren Barris is not a million miles back, he's only a second and a half or so behind as they go on to this final lap, so any mistakes for Booth and Barris will be with him. I'm not convinced that Darren is quite going to have the pace through the infield section of the lap to really launch the attack. Through Edward, up towards Chapman, using all the curb, not too much, otherwise you start getting told off for exceeding the track limits. And indeed, more than told off, you can be given time penalties if you do it excessively. But, no real need for Matthew to push on too hard. He's got the gap, he knows that the car is good through this part of the circuit. Doesn't look as though that MK Indy can be caught. Back on board with Darren Barris in the Westfield V8, which has shown itself to be a very fierce competitor though this weekend, and on maybe a slightly more open and high speed circuit, a race winning car potentially. Tight technical infield section here at Rockingham just not suiting that car particularly well. Booth has set a lap time in this race incidentally that's half a second quicker than he did in race 1, so that shows actually that's really impressive that Barris has been able to stay with him, because Booth is going as quickly as he possibly can, but don't think that Barris is quite going to be able to do anything to stop him, because out of the final corner comes Matthew Booth. He's already become the first double winner of the season. Now he becomes the first driver to win 2 races in one weekend, and it's a 3rd win of the season for Matthew Booth. 2nd place goes to Darren Barris, but he was only a second behind at the flag. It's quite a long wait then for Rob Johnston, but here he comes out of the final corner, and he will come home to round out the podium overall, and of course the podium within Class A as well. Confirmation of the result then: Booth from Barris from Johnston on the podium, then John Moore 4th, Stephen Ward 5th, and Ed Fuller 6th. Then it's Marcus Roskill, Liam, Ollie Samways and Martin Hayward rounds out the top 10. Next up is Martin Buckland, Alan Robinson and Alex Claridge follow, then Bridget Smart and Sylvia Much. We lost though Ben Coles, Nigel Brown, Peter Robinson and Andy Hiley, whilst Leighton Norris and Martin Gambling were non-starters.
Matt, you started off inherited pole, but it wasn't easy the first few laps. After that, you kind of run away with it.
Yeah, once again, the Westfield did an amazing job, like fast on the straights, like great into the first corner, and he got me. So I just knew I had to get him back by the hairpin, and then be able to pull the gap so he couldn't use that power on me down the straights. So managed to do that, and then break that gap, and yeah, it were a hard race because I had to be pushing all the way through. But yeah, it was a good race. Yeah.
Is that the first time you had a brace of wins?
Yeah, I almost did it 2 years ago here, but I just got pipped on the final straight on the last lap. But yeah, I've managed to do it now, so I'm happy. Yeah.
Congratulations, go and enjoy it.
Thanks.
Just want to thank the RAF in general for their support, the Irish Central Fund, the Irish Sports Federation, who do a little bit to contribute to help running the car, and amongst all the other armed forces people that come under the 750 Motor Club.
And it took us to the race. It was you're dicing all the way, but it's right fun out there.
It was excellent. I mean, I knew right from the word go. I changed how I was going to do the start, so less wheel spin, and the car, once it gets onto that wave of torque, I was very surprised just to kind of drive past everyone into the first corner and just get that lead straight into the first corner, which was just brilliant, and try and hold Matt up for as long as I could.
Yeah. What can you do to keep Matt behind you? It's a tricky thing, isn't it?
I've come from a series, so the Armed Forces series, we're all very gentlemanly and stuff like that, and it's moving into a series where there's just that little bit more competitive edge, and I probably left the door open on a couple of occasions. That's my learning process that needs to take place. So he was able to get inside me at the hairpin when I thought, okay, I'm not quite at the apex, but I'm close enough, and then his nose appeared, and it's just like, okay, right, and now I know. So yeah, it's just a little bit more developing my defensive tactics. I think
racecraft, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and I think my car being slightly heavier, so plenty of power, plenty of torque, but a little bit more weight to keep it in the class limit, means that sort of mid-corner in the race, the car loads the tyres a little bit more, so the lighter cars might be less powerful, but they preserve their tyres a little bit better, and I found that through the middle of the race. So when I was defending quite hard, that was where I was conscious that my weak point was. But I was able to keep Matt honest, and I was able to hold on to second with a bit of defensive driving in there as well. So learning from the first bits where I lost the lead, but it was just fantastic fun, really was.
It was fantastic to watch as well. So go and enjoy it. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Rob, it's another podium this weekend. It was a tough race. Obviously, you're sweating. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult. We made some changes to the car overnight, which helped the car through the slower sections of the track. But unfortunately, we had the same problem with the brakes come through. So although I could run at the pace that Matt was putting at the front, when it came to sort of trying to make any outbraking manoeuvres, then there was too many risks to be had. So it led to a couple of mistakes as well. So I lost ground towards the end to Darren. But yeah, we'll make some changes and obviously fix the brake problem hopefully to next time.
Oh, congratulations for now. Thank you.
Thank you.